Hello and welcome to my garden and the dinosaurs who live there. You know, one of the great things about being a YouTuber, and I don't know whether it is just the gardening YouTube community or whether it's other communities as well, but certainly within the gardening community, the YouTubers are really generally very, very nice people and we all get on really well. There's jokes, there's learning, there's friendship. Yeah, just generally we're a nice bunch. And you'll quite often see us getting involved in collaborations. So one channel wants to create a video about something and invites other people along to put their penneth worth in, or maybe getting together on live streams or whatever. And I think that makes for more interesting viewing. I'd be interested on your thoughts on that actually. Whether the whole collaborative approach is you find refreshing, or whether it's jaded, or whether you aren't quite into it at all. But I think it's a great way of both reaching other folk that maybe aren't aware of your channel, but also just learning how other people are getting on and compiling something to show that in a sort of one-stop shop, if you like, to other people. So to that end, I've got another collaboration video for you. I did the same collaboration last year with slightly different YouTubers, and the collaboration really asked people to comment on their best harvests this year, because we're at the end of October and most harvests are done now, and people have got an idea of what's worked, what hasn't worked, etc. And I think it's quite interesting just to look and see the different successes that different people have had in different locations, and yeah, it gives you a feel for, it doesn't really matter. Even if you're quite close to another YouTuber, they might have a different approach or just different luck, different weather systems or whatever, and it affects the success of things that you're growing. So yeah, welcome to this collaboration on my best harvests in 2024.
When Max asked me to share my favourite harvest of this year, it wasn't too hard at all, because it's one of the last major harvests of the season. So earlier on you might have your peas, your beans, your tomatoes, but we wait and we wait and we wait, and then sometime round about the middle of October, everything is starting to just turn that bit wintry, and we know that we can go and harvest our squash. We haven't grown them to show, we have grown them to eat, and as such we haven't been pruning the plants back as you would do if you wanted to concentrate all the energy into one or two squash to get them to the right size. So let's have a little look and see what they look like all together. Here we have them, and even though you can see we have got a whole range of different colours, of different shapes, of different varieties, what you can't appreciate from just looking at them is the difference in the flavours. Because I think here in the UK the most common squash that we find in our shops is the butternut squash, which is very nice, but if you compare this to something like an organic homegrown uchikikuri, oh my goodness, it's just something else completely. So they're worth growing to just discover the different flavours. But the other reason is that they actually keep for a long time if they are cured properly. These ones, the uchikikuri, the Queensland blue, the sweet mama, the blue banana, they will all keep 8 months easy, 9 months. So they will take you right through the winter months to next year. Whereas this smaller ones here, so the delicata, the mashed potato, these are the ones that are going to get used up fairly quickly. The beauty with these though, and particularly the mashed potato squash, is they don't take up much room to grow. People think to grow squash you need a huge area. You really don't. If you have one mashed potato plant, it will grow as a bush in about an area, say 2 foot square. And the beauty of them is it's like finding birds' eggs. It's like opening a nest and discovering a bird has been along and laid you these most beautiful eggs in there. So they're real fun to grow. Other than that, of course, you can grow the trailing varieties vertically. So, you know, we've all seen, you know, pumpkin arches and vertical climbing, so consider growing them vertically, but really do give them a go. Thanks so much, Mags, for asking me to come onto your collaboration, and I really look forward to seeing what everybody else's favourite harvest might be.
Oh, you're right, Mags. It's a bit of a poser this year. What's my best veg, best harvest, best performing? To be honest, there hasn't really been one. Now, I say beans have been my best, but they're not outstanding. I've had a great run of beans, great French beans, dwarf beans, all sorts, but they're not exceptional. So what I'm going to go on about is this, my straw bales. Now there's 8 straw bales in there, believe it or not, and I'll put a picture up there somewhere to show you what they started off like beginning of the year, March time. I've had so many crops off these, and lately these squashes have just taken over. We had a frost last night, so they are looking a bit sad for themselves. They'll be dead soon. But look, another rooster, another Virginia rooster, another tromboncino hiding in there. I'll tell you what I'll do, and I get my list out and I go through very quickly what I've harvested out of these 8 bales and the 2 down the bottom. Potatoes, they were fantastic. They were over there. Oh my word! This is one tuber, mind. That's not bad from one tuber. Oh, look at that. Ah, that's not a... That is a Casablanca, I'm sure. That is fantastic. Guess who's doing potatoes in straw bales next year? You've seen the tromboncino and Virginia rooster. I got a sweet potato in there, actually. I forgot about that. I've got to look for him in a minute. Loads of swede, loads of beetroot. Tomatoes were good, but they weren't the best tasting tomatoes because they were a bad choice on my part. Leeks, onions, shallots, and I think that's about it on this one. Oh, calabrese, sorry, calabrese. Summer calabrese over there, the purple one, still chucking some sprouts up there, look. So absolutely, I'll tell you what, absolutely fantastic, Mags. So let's have a look down here a bit. Absolutely brilliant. Now I got some spare room over there, so I'm going to put in some cauliflowers in a minute. But where's this sweet potato? I can see the leaf there. It's difficult with this sun, it's very low in the sky. I can see the leaves, there's leaves. There's the leaves. Oh. Not much in the way of sweet potatoes, but I tell you what, that's more than I've ever grown before. And a quick look on the other 2 bales. Aubergine Black Beauty there, that's the 3rd of those. A few chilies left. Kohlrabi in the corner. Lettuce has gone to seed now. There's a few tomatoes still hanging around, but like I said, I made the wrong choice. They weren't very tasty. And a couple of those Beth Alpha cucumbers. Look at the size of them. I probably left them a bit too late, but they'll be all right. Well, there you are, Mags. My success story for 2024 has got to be the straw bales. So impressed am I that I've ordered 30 bales ready for next year. Take care.
Hello my lovelies and welcome to Allotment of the Dead. So I've been asked to do a little bit of a collaboration with Mags from My Garden and the Dinosaurs who live there, just to go through what some of the best things this year in terms of harvest have been for me. And I think, as you can see behind you, the aconitum this year has been absolutely gorgeous. Right, we'll go to the polytunnels, and I think probably for those people that have seen my channel, there's going to be no surprises as to what potentially you're going to be hearing from me in terms of my best harvest, because without a doubt it's gonna be something that I've spent a lot of time doing this year. Right, let's show you. Okay, so right in front of me here, there is an absolute tray of wonderful colours. Oh, there's a big spider there. Whoa! Okay, that looks like a false widow. Let's get rid of that one. Don't want that one. Right, my best harvest this year has been, without a doubt, these absolutely gorgeous chilies. I think I'm getting cobwebs everywhere at the minute. So I'm here in the polytunnel, probably 6 o'clock at night. It's absolutely kind of laden with bugs and things at the minute, but there we go. So chilies, I planted probably over 150 kinds of chilies and sweet peppers this year, and 309 plants in total. And consequently, I've got an absolute ton of chilies, everything ranging from these absolutely gorgeous yellow yellow mamas, big yellow mamas, ricotta peppers. We've got this absolutely gorgeous sugar rush stripey. These were the seeds that I brought down from Tony Smith's garden. So they've again done quite well. These 7-pot slimers. I've got Orion, and generally just a load of really decent peppers. So these are the space chilies. So this is Big Bang, and we've got this nice Cuban variety of sweet pepper called Criolla de Cochina. Absolutely gorgeous peppers, full of different tastes, flavors, and as you'd expect, I'm finding lots of new ways to actually use these in my cooking. Lots of new things I've tried this year, making harissa paste, sambles, cowboy candy, all of those sort of things that you can make with these fantastic chilies. And in terms of colour, you're not going to beat that. The other thing I've been growing quite well is the like the plant you see behind me, which started off as a little tiny, almost like a twig, which is the oleander. So my poisonous plants, which is what this particular channel is named after, have again done really, really well. So yeah, that's kind of me. I've done, as I say, loads of different things this year, loads of particular plants that you wouldn't otherwise see, like Tamarillo, even though they've not given me any fruit this year. I'm going to try and overwinter them for next year. But my harvests, especially for my chilies, have been absolutely fantastic this year. All the best, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.
So thank you, Mags, for inviting me onto your channel to discuss my best harvest for 2024. I'm Annie, and this is my kitchen garden. So my best harvest for 2024 has got to be my early fruiting sweetheart strawberries. I've grown many varieties in the past, but this year's crop was my very best. So back in early spring, I moved my second year plants to this bed. It had previously been covered in green manure, which I chopped down and covered with a fresh layer of multi-purpose compost and farmyard manure mixed in with some fish blood and bone. Each plant was then given a sprinkling of mycorrhizal fungi to help support the roots. We had a cold spring and a cool wet summer, but even so they thrived, giving me the very best fruits. Well, it's raining again, but I have just picked these. This is my first strawberry harvest of the year, and some of these are whoppers. And then the harvest kept coming and coming and coming, and although I didn't record the total amount harvested, I was able to make several batches of the most delicious strawberry ice cream. There was 2 lots of strawberry jam and countless bowls of fresh strawberries and cream, and of course some just picked straight from the plant and popped into my mouth as I pottered around the garden. Well, sadly, at the end of the summer I lost all those plants to wilt, but it wasn't before I was able to rescue all these healthy runners. So these will go in a new bed, and in the spring, with a bit of care, hopefully I'll be able to repeat this year's success next summer.
What crop has done the best for me this year? It's quite an easy one because not much has done that well this year really. I'm sure you guys can relate as well. It's not been a very good growing season in the UK. But if I were to choose a crop that's done well, it has to be the carrots. Usually I don't manage to grow carrots. I usually fail epically with them. There are all sorts of things that can go wrong with them, carrot root fly being one of them. But this year I've managed to grow them, and I've been picking like a massive handful of them every single week. I'm actually really surprised. I grew them in raised beds. I had these pallet collar raised beds which I grew them in, so they are raised off the ground so the carrot root fly can't get them, and I incorporated loads of sand in there early this year and we ended up with some pretty good carrots, but the slugs did attack them early on. I had to sow them like 3 or 4 times in the end, but they did eventually get going and we had some really good carrots. The varieties which I grew this year are Autumn King and Early Nance, and they were really nice. I've got some in buckets as well for Christmas. They're coming along really nicely. So we had the ones outside in the raised beds, and hopefully in a couple of months we'll have the ones in the buckets as well. So excellent stuff. Next year I'm going to grow the same varieties again, but I'm also going to try Sweet Candle as well. I'm going to grow a lot of them in buckets in the greenhouse where they're raised off the ground on the benches, well out of the way of the carrot root fly, and outdoors as well in a couple of raised beds. So carrots have done really well for me this year. I'm super happy with how they've done. They've been super productive. My carrots this year probably look really small compared to some people's carrots, like gardeners that grow carrots for the shows, massive long carrots like that, but I'm super happy with how they've done for me this year.
So Mags has asked me what was my bumper crop for 2024, and I toyed back and forth runner beans, cabbages, but I went with garlic. Now garlic to me is one of those staples that I use all year round, and I plant it now on Halloween, and then next year in June I'll harvest a big bumper crop. Now I've planted up elephant garlic, and then I've also planted up some Cadors, Lautrec, and I've tried a new variety as well this year as well called Palenque. So I've got 3 different varieties in one bed, and then elephant garlic, a whole bed of that as well, ready, because I like to put elephant garlic, a whole bulb, in some foil with some olive oil and roast that and smear it on some nice fresh bread. So I would have to say garlic has been an absolute fantastic crop for me this year and the year before. Thanks Mags.
So what can I say except wow, there has been some fantastic harvests this year, and I think we all agree that it has maybe been a less than perfect year for growing. The weather has been against us and has helped the pests be against us as well. So it only goes to show that even in the worst growing seasons, there can be some real stars in the garden. So thanks everyone for contributing to this collaboration. Now what about me, you might be asking? I've had an okay year in the garden. There's been a few losses. The majority of my potatoes, for example, I got blight, and they were, I got some harvests, but very small harvests and small potatoes, except for the potato that I was growing as part of the single seed potato challenge. And that is where you're given a single seed potato and you see how many potatoes you can grow from it. And I had a phenomenal crop from that single seed potato. The results, as I make this video, the results aren't out, so I can't tell you how many pounds of potatoes I actually got from the single seed potato. But when I put this video out, if the results video is out, I'll link that at the end of this video so that you can see how everyone's got on in the single seed potato challenge. But even although the rest of my potatoes were a washout, the potato that I grew for the single seed potato challenge was phenomenal. The best harvest I've had from potatoes. We'll put that aside though, and the rest of the harvests have been quite good. I've had lots of beans and lots of brassicas and peas and so on. But actually the shining star in my harvest this year has been my onions. Now, it's probably because generally I'm rubbish at growing onions. And I've often, mostly grown them from sets. But this year I made a conscious effort and I said, no, I'm going to grow them from seed. And I think it's been a combination of growing from seed and the particular variety that I've grown. But I got a great crop. Not tons, but I planted out 20 young onion plants after I'd sown them and grown them on indoors. And of those 20, I got fantastically sized onions. So let me just show you, I've eaten some and given some away, but I've got some left and I'll show you what they are like now. The variety is Exhibition, and I got varying sizes, but mostly really quite a good size. So there's, that's an excellent size of onion. It's a smaller one, but it's not unlike what you would buy in the shops. So you can see the remainder of my crop here. So whilst it wasn't a huge harvest, it was as big as it could be because I didn't have any failures. All of my onions came to fruition and gave me a very good sized onion to cook with, or to pop actually, because it's quite mild, to pop into salads and so on. So I'm going to make sure that it hasn't been a fluke this year, and I've actually ordered 2 sets of onion seeds, which I'll show you when I sow them in January. But yeah, I'm going to check that it hasn't been a fluke this year, and I'm going to try and grow lots more onions using the same approach that I used this year. So sowing early. I think these were sown in February actually. I'm going to try sowing in January. Sowing in January, growing on, then transplanting into smaller sort of cells once they have grown on a little bit, and then once they're big enough and the weather has improved a bit, pop them out into their final growing area. So yeah, I'll obviously take you along with me in what I do then. But I couldn't be happier with these guys. As I say, not a huge crop, but it was the biggest crop that I could get given the plants that I put in. Anyway, I'll call a halt to this video. I just want to say a big thank you to all of the YouTubers that got involved in this collaboration. And again, wow, your harvests were absolutely fantastic. I'll put a link to all of the YouTubers' channels in the description of this video. Please, if you haven't already visited their YouTube channels, visit them, and hopefully you'll be inspired enough to subscribe to them and see what they're getting up to going forward. But for now, I'll call a halt. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you again very soon.